I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Welcome to News du Jour. You may be wondering, why am I, Annie Bowles, here hosting this podcast? I usually start by telling people I'm a political baby. You see, my parents met working on Capitol Hill. By the time I was 2, I had been in my first political commercial and even got lost crawling around the West Wing. Don't worry, Al Gore found me. My family then moved abroad when I was 9, and I attended an international school in Brussels with kids from all over the world. And it is this type of global perspective that I also bring to our show. I graduated from American University in DC after studying political science and art history, as well as interning on both sides of Capitol Hill. I even interned down the hall from where my parents met. I'm now pursuing a professional certificate in journalism at NYU in conjunction with Rolling Stone magazine. I guess I was always that friend in the group who cared deeply about not just what was going on politically, but also globally. I often kept my own friends informed through high school and into young adulthood, so I guess I've always done a version of this show. I'm genuinely passionate about following the news, and I'm here to break it down for you guys every weekday. We always strive to be a calmer space to get your news. Or, as one listener put it, like getting your news from a well-informed bestie. I'm so glad you're here. So unfortunately, the murder of a transgender teen in Oklahoma is making national news. The beating that caused this death happened in a bathroom at school, and the school didn't even call an ambulance. So what led up to this fatal act of violence? Let's walk through the details. According to The Independent, Nex Benedict was bullied at Owasso High School for being transgender. They used a bathroom that matched their sex, assigned at birth, as was required by a law passed by Governor Stitt in 2023. Trans teens are often damned if they do and damned if they don't. Nex came home with head injuries, badly beaten, with bruises all over their face and eyes, scratched on the back of their head. Nex's mom, Sue, tried to reassure her child, encouraging them to, quote, be strong and look the other way because people don't know who you are, end quote. Sue took her child to Bailey Medical Center in Owasso for treatment. They were discharged. Nex had a sore head but fell asleep listening to music. I can't imagine the emotional pain they were in that night, as I remember many nights as a teenager falling asleep with music, and that was never a good sign. But the next day, on February the 8th, which was actually my birthday, and I was in Tulsa myself, Nex collapsed in their living room, was rushed to the hospital, and declared dead from their head injuries in that evening in the hospital. The exact cause of death is still being determined at this time. The Owasso Police Department has announced that they will be investigating the situation thoroughly and that, quote, all charges will be on the table. Ryan Walters, an already contentious character here in Oklahoma, is getting a lot of heat, you guys, as he has been cozy with anti-trans activists and has called transgender inclusive language, quote unquote, dangerous, and saying it, quote, puts our girls in jeopardy, end quote. To which I have to wonder if he realizes that we are number 1 in domestic violence in the nation. Those are grown men beating women all the time. we had over 43,000 domestic violence calls to the police in Oklahoma County alone in 2021, according to the YWCA. So I'd say yes, Mr. Walters, our girls are in jeopardy, but it's at the hands of grown men, not trans children. And in this instance, it was actually 3 older girls who beat Nex so severely that Nex is dead. So who's really in jeopardy here, Mr. Walters? I would say it was Nex. And now these girls are in jeopardy. They're in jeopardy of prison time for their fatal beating of a trans classmate. We'll be sure to keep you guys posted on this unfolding story. This story was edited from last week, Wednesday's episode. I used the incorrect pronouns for Nex, and I wanted to make that right. So we have updated it for this version, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Please feel free to share if you'd like to spread the word about what happened to Nex Benedict. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. A rate and review on that platform or a shout out on social media would mean the world to us and help us to be able to keep creating the news du jour and reach more people who need a calmer space to consume the news. But the best way to support all of our work is to become a patron at www.patreon.com/sugarfree media, and that is also linked in our show notes. You can follow us on social media at newsdujour.podcast on both Instagram and TikTok. You can follow my personal account at It's Annie Bowles on both platforms as well. Any little noises you may hear in the background are my rescue pup. He has a little separation anxiety and always records with me. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour. Broadcasting from Oklahoma.